sabi po niya ay magbago na daw ang dating PNP chief na di porket hindi kaalyado ay gagawan ng mga kwento na ikakasira ng kanilang buhay. Kung standing po ang inyong ganong mensahe na magbago siya, edi tingin niyo po ba ay hindi pa rin siya nagbabago ngayon? Kasi hindi naman na po siya PNP chief. Ngayon po ay nakaupo siya sa Senado. Pero bagamat iba na po yung kanyang posisyon, tingin po ba ninyo ay yung ganong katangian niya noong PNP chief siya, dala pa rin niya hanggang ngayon?
No comment ako sa tanong na yan. Kasi hindi ko hawak ang isip at puso niya.
Mr. Chair, dahil galing din po iyon sa mensahe ninyo kanina, nagkaroon kayo ng ganitong mga karanasan involving former PNP Chief Bato de la Rosa. Ilang mga taon na po yun nakalipas after mangyari iyon. Pero nung hiningan kayo ng mensahe, ganun po ang inyong mga nasabi. Na may ganun siyang dapat baguhin sa kanyang katangian.
Siguro, may nakita ako sa kanyang sarili na ganun pa rin ang kanyang ginagawa. May sarili ko yung opinion. Sarili ko po yung opinion yun, your Mr. Chair.
Okay, igagalang po natin, Mr. Chair, kung yun yung opinion sa ngayon ni Ginoong Kerwin Espinosa. Next, Mr. Chair, didirect ko muna yung tanong ko sa National Union of People's Lawyers kasi nga, I think, recurring talaga na meron pong ginawa ang dating PNP chief. Tanong po natin, trabaho po ba yun ng isang PNP chief as part of law enforcement na actively kumilos para pilitin ang isang tao na mag-testify wrongly tungkol sa kanyang sarili at maging sa iba? Kasi po, tingin po natin kung ika-qualify po yun bilang isang krimen, papasok po yun sa pagtingin ko, Mr. Chair, ang tawag po doon technically, subornation of perjury. Ibig sabihin, kung perjury kasi, yung tao yung magde-decide na magsisinungaling siya under oath. Pero ito, Mr. Chair, isang tao na nasa kapangyarihan, pinilit niya, ginamit niya yung kapangyarihan niya para manakot, para piliting magsinungaling yung iba. At yun yung sa pagtingin ko, Mr. Chair, subornation of perjury. Pero galing mismo sa ating mga abogado, ano pong pagtingin ninyo doon? Bahagi po ba dapat yon ng law enforcement?
Mr. Chair, thank you. Thank you for the question. No, it's not a part of the job of a PNP chief or any public official for that matter. In fact, there could be anti-graft laws being violated here. Secondly, it's a crime in itself, Mr. Chair. The crime committed by then PNP Chief Bato de la Rosa could be labeled as a grave coercion or even grave threats. In fact, it can, depending on the prosecution, on the DOJ, incriminatory machinations. Because he is actually compelling somebody with a threat to the life of that person to commit perjury, for that matter. With regard to subornation of perjury, there is, in fact, for the information of the committee, there is, in fact, a bill pending before Congress to penalize public officials who coerce other people to commit the crime of subornation of perjury. But that is a bill, so in case the committee is going to entertain in aid of legislation bills, then this is one of the bills that they can, of course, pass after this Congress, Mr. Chair.
So, Mr. Chair, dahil ang ating deliberations din naman, isa sa mga gusto natin talaga, well, primarily ay para mag-come up tayo sa mas magagandang mga batas. So, ngayon, technically, kung perjury lang, ito ay matuturing ng isang krimen. Pero yung subornation of perjury, under our current laws, hindi pa siya krimen. Tama po ba, Mr. Chair?
Not yet. It's not in the... There was previous law, but I think it was repealed by the revised penal code. So, papasok na lang yon sa grave coercion if you compel somebody to do something against his or her will, using threats against the life of the person, etc. And, of course, grave coercion, grave threats, and as I mentioned, a possible violation of the anti-graft laws, not to mention incriminatory machinations if need be.
So with that, Mr. Chair, I think we should really take note of what was mentioned, grave coercion, tsaka ang anti-graft laws, while in our efforts to come up with better legislation, yung pwedeng bill no, doon sa subornation of perjury, Mr. Chair. Kasunod, Mr. Chair, ito, mas natalakay kasi ito sa Committee on Human Rights led by our Chair, Chairman Abante, na dati na bring up na natin yung Command Memorandum Circular 16, Series of 2016, na pirmado din mismo ni former PNP Chief Bato de la Rosa, na kung saan ay instead na maghanap talaga ng mga ebidensya bago mag-file ng mga warrant, ang nangyayari ay pamimilit, pananakot. So maging yung ginawa ni former PNP Chief Bato de la Rosa, batay doon sa affidavit ni Kerwin Espinosa, ito ba ay consistent doon sa ano yung layunin at ano yung esensya ng CMC 16, 2016? Kasi doon pala nakita na natin yung mga flaws sa memorandum na yon, na magdudulot talaga siya ng mga samot-saring paglabag at pag-abuso sa mga kababayan natin. So maging yung ganong ginawa, would that fall under the scope of that CMC for us to say na liable din yung pumirma doon sa CMC na yon? Can we get a comment from the NUPL?
Mr. Chair, if I may be allowed to answer. Again, Command Memorandum Circular 2016-11 does not mention illegal acts. It only asks the police to knock on people's doors and ask them to surrender. We have a particular question about the term neutralization, which we have pointed out prior during the House Committee on Human Rights hearings, that neutralization seems to have been interpreted by the police as an instruction to kill, neutralize drug personalities. As regards trumped-up charges and so forth, perhaps it could also fall within that framework, but outright violation of the law is not in the letter of the Command Memorandum Circular. It is in the implementation of the circular that has been very problematic.
Tapos Mr. Chair, isa na point out din kasi natin dun yung term na neutralization, na sa maraming mga pagkakataon, ang pagkaka-implement talaga nito ay kung sino yung suspect, kahit suspect pa lang, ay patayin. So, sa tingin po ba ninyo, sa perspective ninyo, yung ginawa kay Rolando Espinosa, yung pag-neutralize sa kanya, bunga yun nitong Command Memorandum Circular 16, Series of 2016?
Yes, of course. And precisely because the Memorandum Circular cites the pronouncements of President Duterte as the impetus for this entire quote-unquote war on drugs. The killings actually began from when he started saying that kill, 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 and I will take care of you. Ang pangako niya sa mga police, kung may mapatay kayo in the course of any police operation, ako ang bahala sa inyo. So it really created a culture, a climate of impunity in the Philippines. And the killings, not only the 6,000 or 7,000 that are attributed to police operations, can be taken within the context of Command Memorandum of that Command Memorandum Circular, but we also argue that the rest of the killings, vigilante killings, those found by the roadsides, yung unknown perpetrators, also fall within that framework, and up to 30,000 people died within this climate or culture of impunity. And as we said, no one or very few policemen or persons have been called to account.
Mr. Chair, kung ganun yung lalabas, ibig sabihin, itong Command Memorandum Circular 16, Series of 2016, na pinirmahan ni former PNP Chief Bato de la Rosa, hindi lang siya pumirma, hindi lang din ito inimplement ng kanyang mga subordinates sa PNP, pero siya mismo ay active na implementor ng Command Memorandum Circular na yun dahil sa involvement niya doon sa mga Espinosa, assuming na totoo yung mga sinabi ni Kerwin Espinosa. Would the NUPL agree or disagree with that?
Yes, we would agree. The authority of the policemen to act stem from this command memorandum circular. And in the command memorandum itself, it traces its authority naman in turn to the pronouncements of the President. So, one, Bato de la Rosa is liable because of his signature verily on this memorandum, but also President Duterte because of his pronouncements.
Okay, Mr. Chair, balik dun sa itong paano na-portray ng dating administrasyon yung operations laban sa mga Espinosa, kay Rolando Espinosa, maging kay Kerwin Espinosa, na ang turing ay mga high-value targets. So, I would address my question to PIDEA dahil nga, ang sabi naman daw, yung mga ganitong high-profile na mga personalities involved sa drug trade, sila ang pinapakita na signs ng victory ng drug war. So, gusto po nating matanong sa PIDEA kung sa Albuera Leyte at kung saan man yung mga karatig na mga lugar, no? Kasi nga, kung may drug trade, ano naman yan, magkakonnect-connect yan. Mr. Chair, gusto nating malaman, nung napatay si Rolando Espinosa, maging yung mga tumulong sa legal aspects, sina Attorney John Ungab, si Fiscal Mary Ann Castro, nung napatay po sila, nagkaroon ba ng concrete na mga manifestations na na-resolve nga yung drug problem sa Albuera Leyte at hindi na ito nag-spike ulit? May ganun po bang mapanghahawakang patunay ang PIDEA?
That's your last question, Congressman Noel.
And last one, after, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Your Honor, at the outset, I was not yet the director of PIDEA during that time, but based on our discussions with the officials of PIDEA who were with PIDEA and who are still with PIDEA now, there were no indications that after the case of Mayor Espinosa, when he died, there is no indication that the drug trade either flourished or was deteriorated. So,
okay. Thank you for that, Mr. Chair. So kung ganun nga, ibig sabihin, law enforcement did all these operations pero hindi natin makita kung saan talaga patungo yung mga ito in terms of truly addressing the drug problem. So last question ko, Mr. Chair, again sa NUPL, kasi kung nagagawa ito dun sa mga tao nga na tinuturing na mga leader sa kanilang mga lugar, doon naman sa mga mahihirap na mga inosente, meron din bang similar cases na yung mga nag-aabogado sa kanila o yung mga piskal na pwedeng humawak sa mga kaso nila ay nafe-threaten din or worse, ay pinatay rin talaga?
Yes. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. In fact, there had been cases of lawyers being killed. Mentioned kanina yung ilan. The Quadcom hearing today, actually, Mr. Chair, opened a new vista from the testimonies of Kerwin and with the case of General Barayuga. Because usually, the main issue in the EJK on drug war are drug suspects. But now it seems, Mr. Chair, that there are people who are not even involved in drugs. They're merely being used as a cover. Drug war is used as a cover to eliminate somebody like General Barayuga. Lawyers of drug suspects were killed not because they're involved in drugs, but they defended drug suspects. There are cases wherein the drug war was used against political opponents. And of course, Mr. Chair, there are also human rights defenders who merely protested against the killing of drug suspects who are also victims of EJK. So this is the new vista opened in this hearing, Mr. Chair. And there were cases wherein the lawyers of victims like Attorney Ben Ramos, for example, have been assassinated merely because President Duterte once issued a statement that these drug lords, drug suspects, use lawyers to defend them in court, and then he said, isasama ko kayo. And then lawyers began dying all over the country immediately afterwards, Mr. Chair. So there are victims outside the drug war, in a sense, who were also victims of EJK, Mr. Chair.
With that, Mr. Chair, to conclude, napaka-heinous nung ganitong naging iskema ng past administration na kahit yung mga tinuturing na high-value target, kahit nakakulong na ang intention lang naman nun ay ma-deprive sila ng liberty to do bad things, kung meron man, pati sila ay napapatay, Mr. Chair. Kaya kung nagagawa yon sa mga tinuturing na mga high-value targets, no wonder na lalong mas mababa yung turing doon sa mga mahihirap na mga inosente nating mga kababayan, kabilang ang mga kabataan tsaka yung mga bata. Kaya with that, Mr. Chair, dapat talaga, again, yung mga pinakasangkot, yung mga nagpasimuno nitong drug war na ito, kasama ang former PNP Chief, Bato de la Rosa, at ang dating Presidente Rodrigo Duterte, ay dapat mag-come out na rin at tanggapin yung imbitasyon ng komite na ito na humarap sila. Yun lang, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Congressman Manuel. Congressman Gomez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just would like to add in their conversation, Mr. Chair. I was a mayor when the drug war was implemented, Mr. Chair. And let me tell you, nasa lahat ng implementation sila against the fight with the fight against drugs. Hindi ka pwedeng lumapit sa drug pusher o sa drug lord na sabihin mo, pwede ho ba tumigil na ho kayo? Kasi lahat ito, all of these people, all of these personalities, they have firearms. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin sa tumigil ka na. Ay babarili ka kagad ng mga yan. So during the implementation na nanguhuli sila at hinaharang nila to, nagkakaputukan talaga, and that is really true. Sad na may namamatay. Sad pati yung polis na sasama. Pero inuutusan yung polis eh. Trabaho nila, Mr. Chair, pag sinabi ng higher up sila, gawin nyo ito. They will do what they're told. And that's the reason na marami namatay. Both from the civilian, both from the police, pati na rin yung mga drug personalities. Now, Mr. Chair, in our conversations, there are two more items that I'd like to bring up, Mr. Chair. First, when Mr. Kerwin Espinosa said na lahat ng sinabi niya sa Senate hindi totoo. That is an institution that we also have to protect. What if he will go into another investigation and he will say that everything he said here is not real, is not true? So, ano yung pinanghahawakan natin lahat in both institutions of the Senate and the House? And second, it was Colonel Marcos who was head of the CIDG in Leyte at that time during the killing of the father of Kerwin Espinosa. And ang haba ng sinabi ni Kerwin, but we haven't heard yung side, Mr. Chair, ni Colonel Marcos kung ano yung masasabi ni Colonel Marcos regarding sa mga nangyari sa event ng pagkamatay ng father ni Kerwin Espinosa. So, Mr. Chair, will it be possible to hear aside from Colonel Marcos against sa sinabi ni Kerwin so that we can hear both sides?
Yes, kanina, earlier, when Congressman Rog Gutierrez and other members were asking questions to Colonel Marcos, sinasagot naman ni Colonel Marcos yung patungkol doon sa kwento sa totoong nangyari doon sa loob ng kulungan sa Leyte.
Bye-bye.
And somehow he has already given some information to the committee as to kung ano naman yung side o yung version ng story on the side of Colonel Marcos.
Yes, sir.
Earlier, may mga comments na dinagdag si Colonel Marcos, but we reminded him na hindi pa pwedeng sumobra yung kanyang sagot dun sa tanong na tinatanong ni Congressman Gutierrez, and we promised him that we will give him time later on before we shift to another topic para magkaroon din ng pagkakataon siya sa committee ito na magkwento o mas masagot yung mabigyan ng isang side o isang angulo yung sinasabi naman ni Kerwin Espinosa. And we will give him that later, Your Honor. But
Mr. Chair,
yes.
with regard also, if we can take up protecting our institution and the Senate.
I
as,
absolutely agree
yes.
with you, Congressman Gomez. In fact, paalala lang sa ating mga resource persons na naimbita, for the information na rin ng ating publiko, hindi naman po 101% pinaniniwalaan natin ng kumiting ito ang kanilang mga testimonya. The only reason why we are asking them to execute an affidavit nang sa ganon ay hindi po tayo balikan in the future para sabihin nila na sila ipinressure, tinakot, pinilit, o hindi kaya isinubuan ng statement. And that is the reason why we require them to execute an affidavit. So ito ang gusto nating sabihin because we really want to protect the institution, both the Senate at itong lower house. Dahil po tayo dito sa Quadcom, ang ating layunin, wala naman iba kundi ipalabas ang katotohanan. Kung meron man pong lumalabas na mga personalidad o pangalang na babanggit, base sa mga testimonya o hindi kaya sa dokumentong isinasubmit sa atin, yan po ay tinitimbang natin. Nang sa ganoon, pag tayo'y gumawa ng committee report, lahat po ng side ng kwento ay kasama ho sa ating committee report.
Yes, Mr. Chair. And lastly, with regards to the statement of PIDEA, I think it is inaccurate for him to say that the drug fight or the drug problem did not improve during the drug war. I can say that in my city, when I was mayor, nag-improve yung nag-improve yung situation namin during the drug war because yung police namin nagtrabaho talaga sila. As a matter of fact, during the course na marami silang hinuli, in less than 2 months, Mr. Chair, there are over 900 people who surrendered in front of my city hall when I was mayor. Why? Because natatakot ho sila na mamatay and they surrendered. And because of that, the drug problem in Ormoc City, bumaba talaga. So, it is not accurate that the Director General said na hindi nag-improve ang situation. At least in my part, as mayor, and I can only speak for myself, nag-improve yung aming lugar.
Yes. May we now ask PIDEA to categorically state, is this the opinion of the Director General only, or this is based on reports or facts that were gathered by the PIDEA when you said that it did not improve?
Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, the question that was asked was that with the passing away of Mayor Espinosa, did it have any effect in Albuera? That's why my answer was that as far as Albuera is concerned, we neither have any indication whether it diminished or the drug campaign or the drug trafficking situation flourished. That was my answer, Your Honor.
Okay. Does that satisfy Congressman Gomez?
I'm good, Mr. Chair. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, DG.
Thank you, DG. Thank you, Congressman Gomez. The next to interpolate is Congressman Paduano, the chair of the Committee on Public Accounts.
Thank you, Chairman. Before I proceed with regards to the issues that was raised by our colleagues, doon po sa raid at saka yung sa search warrant, doon sa Bye-bye Leyte. Mr. Espinosa, yung pakitingnan na po yung paragraph 17 of your affidavit. Paragraph 17 po. Page 3. Paragraph 17. Now, you mentioned about the conversation between General Bato and Espinido. Gamit ang cellphone niya para tanungin siya tungkol sa CCTV footage ng Zilan Hotel sa Albuera, Leyte. Do you have direct knowledge or any knowledge about this CCTV footage?
Sa panahon na yon, meron kasi kasama ako ng daddy ko na nag-abot ng pera kay Sir Marcos.
So yung CCTV na to, na footage, is all about the footage that was taken in that hotel when you give the money to Colonel Marcos.
I'm not the one who give the money, but ang papa ko ang nagbigay, nag-on hand sa kanya.
Okay. And Mr. Chairman, just to put on record that we need to again invite Colonel Espinido with regards to this CCTV footage doon sa Celan Hotel in which the allegation of Kerwin Espinosa is with regards to the money being handed to Colonel Marcos from his father. Tama?
Yes po,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, now, Mr. Chairman, can we request the COMSEC to invite in the next hearing Colonel Espinido? Kailangan niya pong sagutin to. Next.
Comsec, can you take note of the request of Congressman Paduano to invite Colonel Espinido?